Hi everyone, I'm Bryce. It's nice to meet you. This is going to be my first discussion video for this term, and we were supposed to find two big takeaways from chapters 1 through 6 of the third plate, and these are mine. So, for my first takeaway, I found that rethinking how we farm was important to talk about. Um, I kind of wrote a little text here that I thought I would just read as well. So, I thought that Barber highlights how our current farming methods like monoculture and industrial agriculture are not really working in the long run, and how he suggests that we should focus on farming in a way that considers the entire ecosystem, such as soil, crops, animals, and people. This method not only makes the environment healthier, but also leads to better tasting and more nutritious food. And this made a lot of sense to me because, a lot of farming nowadays has become so industrial, mass produced, you know, it's very centric on the crops or the animals themselves, but not about the ecosystem around them, right? And I found a little passage in there talking about how, or in the text, talking about how soil is alive, it lives, it breathes, it, digests and it multiplies and then it dies. Sort of kind of like how we do, right? It's a living thing. And so this whole concept to me was about kind of nurturing that aspect of our ecosystem and our farms. And I really enjoyed it because it just made a lot of sense to me, and it probably did to you as well. And that was on page 72 of our text. The red passages are the in-text things that I found, and then below is the page number. Um, and then for my second takeaway was kind of just understanding the entire third plate concept. And I never really thought about it like this before, so it was kind of new to me, but it made a lot of sense. So I'm going to read this one as well. So I found that Barber introduces the idea of the third plate, which is about moving beyond traditional meals focused on single ingredients like steak and potatoes. It's about embracing the meals that are made from sustainable, local, and seasonal ingredients that come from a whole farm system. This way, eating helps us connect us to our food in a more responsible and meaningful way, appreciating and knowing exactly where it comes from. And I loved this because the whole farm to table, I guess, business or idea has been really popular recently. And I live in Southern California, so there's a lot of them popping up kind of everywhere now. Like empty lots have just become like whole farm to table restaurants and, bars too. They use it in certain drinks. And so it's really cool. It's really cool to see how people are kind of diversifying in that industry and, bringing people closer to the food that they're eating, not just like a mass produced something. It's very intentional and it's sustainable. And I really enjoyed that. I'm not going to read the long text here because it's basically exactly what I was just mentioning about how there's always going to be more large machinery and it's just bigger, 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 more industrial when it doesn't need to be, because that causes less intimacy with our food when we should be intentional and sustainable. And then the last little bit here was from the Food Policy in the United States text that was given to us as a resource, or just I think it was a like 200-page document, and I read through about to page 40-ish. So I definitely am excited to look more into that too. And that had a lot of like, the history of the United States and agriculture in there, and it just was kind of interesting to look through and see and read stuff that I had never even thought of before in terms of agriculture. And this was kind of just, again, talking about how this mass produced, overused of valuable resources, it runs out. It's not forever, and it will have huge environmental consequences if it continues, which means that, as a whole, as a society, we should always try to be as sustainable as possible to avoid such things like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. My works cited is right there. And these were my two takeaways. I am excited to watch y'all's videos and learn about what your big takeaways were as well. Thanks so much. Bye.